Restore us, O God of hosts. Let your face shine that we may be saved. Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Restore with me, your host, David C. McGuire. And I'll tell you what, I have got a special show that you do not want to miss today. That's right. I got some extremely special guests that I'm more than honored to have on. All right. But real quickly, since I never remembered to do this, all right, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Restore with David C. McGuire. Hit the like button, and you can follow me elsewhere on social media, over there on the X platform and over there on the Facebook platform as well at P. David C. McGuire. Or you can find me on those platforms. Get this video out. That's all I'm asking. It doesn't cost you anything. You can share it on your social media platforms. You can tell people by word of mouth. You can email, text message it out. All right, so before we get started, let me just check we are live streaming where we're supposed to be live streaming at. You know what I say? Technology is great, but, you know, it kind of works when it wants to work. So let me just double check we are elsewhere live streaming. All right, we do live stream this show on YouTube, Rumble, and X. So you can catch it there. You can catch it by audio podcast wherever you stream your music or your podcast at as well. So real quickly, let me go over here. So today we're going to talk about with Team Iron Will here. There you go up on your screen, the website. So you can head on over to teamironwill.org. They're doing awesome stuff for a very underrepresented community. Doing stuff, as you can see here. There's a wee man right there in the screen. They do stuff like material assistance, educational opportunities. They got a nice, large family dealing with the intrinsic value of life. All right, so I'm bringing here Andrew and the wee man, Iron Will, on the screen. Welcome to the show.
Say hi.
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 Now you're gonna be shy.
Oh, now you're gonna be shy, right? When it's live streaming.
Hello, sir.
Oh man, yeah. I've been following you guys on over there on the X for a few years now. And so I'm gonna tell you, dude, I'm honored to have you on the show.
It's our pleasure, brother. We're honored to be here.
So then I guess before I start doing anything else, why don't you give an introduction, you know, about yourself and family and the wee man right there.
I may be competing with music the whole time, David. Okay, listen.
Okay.
Hey. So say what's your name? Okay. Say what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Sir.
That's
That's
what we
pretty
got,
regular
right?
occurrence, David.
Yep.
Okay, so he's been chill the whole time. I think he sees himself on camera. So,
Yep.
Andrew Dobb, my wife Kathy and I have 8 children. Will is the youngest. Hey, would you? Okay, that's your 5 minutes of fame. So, Will is the youngest.
Yep.
And we have 7 boys, 1 girl.
Okay.
Tango, as you're real familiar with.
Right.
Right above Will.
Who knew we were gonna have a solo going on during the show? Who knew that?
Your daddy now. Shh, be real quiet. So 7 boys, 1 girl. Spent most of my life in well, that may be it anyway. Are you going? You need this? Come back and see me whenever you want.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, go Christopher. Yes, he'll show you.
That's right.
He may wander back in.
Okay.
So spent a good portion of my time in the Army, then working for the Department of Defense.
Okay.
And what I think is really critical to kind of where we are in our life right now in 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, Will was born. And he was born with Down syndrome. And so completely changed our lives and all for the better. Lots of opportunities to learn and grow and love. And it has been a wild ride since then, brother. And I guess if, I can either let you ask me questions or I can kind of tell you where Team Iron Will came up from and started. I'll leave that up to you, my friend.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. We don't have anybody asking questions right now, but I'm sure there's a lot of questions right now. I mean, because there's stuff out there, and I'm wondering. I know me and my wife, we've got our fair share of kids on our end, right? And I don't know where do we start with this, right? Like, how about this, right? When we would go to the doctor, right, find out, oh, you're pregnant, and they would offer, do you want to do the test, right? Did you guys get the same choice?
We did. So,
yeah. Oh, all right. Hold on a second, guys. Technical difficulties, but that's to be expected, and that's okay. We will move through them. All right. Let's see what we got. We'll just wait. And he is back. Oh, no camera yet. That's all right, though. No. Just waiting on for the camera to come back on. That's all right. There we go.
David, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear. Yeah, I can hear you. I just don't have a video.
Oh, man. That's about right, ain't it?
Yeah. That's the way things work out. Technology works when we want it to work.
And,
I mean,
I did all my rock drills, my prep, everything, brother. All good to go. I'm just running through some tests on it here.
Yeah, no problem. Not a problem. Happens to me frequently, and I do this frequently, so no problem.
So while I'm rebooting this bad boy, what I can tell you, Dave, is with all of our children, we never had any tests or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And oh no, I'm gonna switch one thing up here, my friend.
Sure thing, no problem.
But I'll tell you what, I was when we had William, I was 50 years old.
Okay.
I won't say how old my wife was, but she's younger than I am. So, okay. But it was, we did have, for the first time in all of our time, we had a test.
Okay.
And it was, that we had a great doctor, just a really hardcore doctor, pro-family. And
nice.
He said, hey, listen, he didn't go in so much looking for genetic abnormalities or anything like that. He was he was concerned about a couple things. And so we did it, and we did it solely with the purpose of kind of understanding what our concern, addressing any concerns up front. We never went into it with the idea that we would do anything other than what God intended.
All right.
And I think, as you and I both know, unfortunately, that's not the norm, right? Like that's
right.
It's completely different. And so for a lot of people, but we felt okay doing it for that first time. And the doctor called us and said, hey, I just want you guys to know that there is a chance that this baby has Down syndrome. We're like, okay. And I'll be honest with you, brother, it every time we tell somebody, we have a child with Down syndrome, not every time, that's wrong. Sometimes when we tell people that we have a child with Down syndrome, we get a, oh, I'm so sorry kind of response, And I always say, why are you sorry? Like, it's
Right.
possibly the greatest thing that's ever happened to us. We are thrilled, and then we explained to them why, like, what that means to us, and what a blessing he is. So the doctor says, "Hey guys, just want you to know, there's a 90-something% chance that the baby has Down syndrome." And I'm like, "Okay." He said, "Andrew, how are you? How you doing with that?" And I'm like, "Good. I gotta be honest with you, Doc. When you told me we were having a baby at age 50, that's what threw me."
Okay. Yeah.
Not the hey, we're having we're gonna have a baby with Down syndrome. That didn't throw me at all. He's like, "Well, I guess that's one way to look at it, brother." So, so we just we went from there. It was a tough pregnancy. It was during the middle of the pandemic, as I mentioned. Kathy had she has a health condition that drove some concerns, and they ended up having to do an emergency surgery on her at about, I'm going to say, about 30 something weeks, about 27 weeks, I guess.
Okay.
And this doctor came, our OBGYN came and sat in the surgery with her, and he was with her the whole time, and he watched out just to make sure that the baby was protected and that nothing happened. And so what a blessing that was, just to have him looking out for us and for her. And so she made it through. Will made it through, and he was born. And I'll tell you, it was fascinating. Kathy and I talk about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
When Will was born, there were doctors and nurses that were coming into our room pretty much constantly, and he had a couple little things that we had to tweak, right?
Right.
Some preventative maintenance that we were working on. But I'll tell you what it was, brother. They came in because they so rarely see children with Down syndrome.
Okay.
And they said that. So they came in and they said, we don't see children with Down syndrome, and we just wanted to see this little guy and be part of this process. And obviously there's a learning aspect to that as well. And so that right there really told us right off the bat that something was different. And boy, was it ever. And so I'm switching out. I'm putting another laptop in. Believe it or not, David, I was an Army officer, but every once in a while I can do more than one thing at a time. So I am switching this bad boy out. So
okay, gotcha.
So let's see here. So that was a big learning curve for us. Is just kind of the almost rarity, right? And let's not kid ourselves, brother. Worldwide, 70+% the estimates are of children with Down syndrome. I think it's almost 77% of children with Down syndrome are aborted.
Oh wow!
And so that in and of itself was just amazing to us. And so from that point forward, we had a lot of learning to do, and we had to do it quickly, both for his benefit, just to make sure he was getting the proper treatment. The other thing that we found is that because there are not a lot of children that are born with Down syndrome, and I think the estimates are around 5,000 something in the United States every year, right? The medical community as a whole just isn't well prepared to deal with it, to provide the assistance that these children need in the right way.
Right.
And so
no problem. No problem. Take your time.
Calm issues. Calm.
Oh boy, right?
You were an infantry, Bubba, though, right, David?
No, I was a 13 Fox. I was a Ford Observer.
All right, brother.
So comms was my bread and butter. Yep.
Let's see if
Oh,
something
here we
comes
go.
through.
Let's
Could
see.
be on the cusp of victory.
There we go.
Yeah, boom.
Boom.
So what we discovered was that the medical community was not prepared from a knowledge perspective to address it. And quite often we discovered one of two things. They underestimated or they overestimated it. And when I say overestimated, what they did was they treated him as if there was nothing different.
Okay.
It can be a problem, right? Because he had lung issues. People with Down syndrome have lower muscle tone, and they are more prone to some illnesses and that kind of thing, immunoproblems. And so if you had a doctor who's like, he'll be fine, that was a concern. And if you had a doctor at the same time that said, I have no idea he has Down syndrome, that was a concern.
Right.
And so there was a lot of learning for us. We had a lot of people step forward from the community that had children with Down syndrome and had experience that we didn't have. And they started giving us guidance. And then kind of here's the genesis for Team I and Will. We had one of our doctors who just a great, solid Christian woman.
Oh, nice.
And she said, we were concerned, like, you and I both, right? Like we trained to standard, and standards are everything, right? Task, condition, standard. And so I'm looking at gates, like what are the measurements? Where do I need him to be? And how can I help him get there? And my wife does an even better job than I do at that, right? So
right.
She said, listen, he's going to get where he needs to be in his own time. Chill out, let him get there, and he'll get there when he's ready.
Right.
And we first dealt with that in terms of crawling and walking. And like I said, the low muscle tone and some coordination issues. And so what we realized quickly is that we needed a walker for him. And one that supports him and helped his little legs gain strength and taught him the muscle movements, the gross muscle movements that he needed in order to do that. And we had somebody very close to us step up and say, hey, we have a walker. We used it for our daughter, and we want to give that to you. And that's not a cheap gift.
Right.
And so we said, great. What we discovered was that as we started then, especially my wife started kind of capturing the journey. And she had these great videos of Will, and I would take him. I'm a little more irreverent in my approach. My beautiful wife is she's just wonderful in capturing his little humanity. I like, kind of the tough side of him, which just makes me laugh.
Right.
But as we were going through that and people were giving us guidance and they were giving us equipment, we realized that there are a lot of people out there that don't have those same blessings in their lives, people in the impoverished community, in financial straits, and with a lack of knowledge in the United States and worldwide. And so one day there was, my wife's pretty good on Instagram. She always likes to ask me, how many people do you have following you on X? And I don't like to say it because it's like 1/100th of what she has.
Oh, okay.
but her impact has been, just millions of views.
Oh, wonderful.
Putting his little spirit out there, as you well know, brother.
Yeah.
And so one day somebody said, hey, I can't remember what piece of equipment it was that we had, but they said, where did you get that? And my wife told her, and she said, oh, we have the same issues. We can't do that. We've been fighting the insurance company. They won't help us. They won't do that, as you can guess.
Right.
So my wife comes to me and she's like, hey, dear, these people need this. How do we help them? I'm like, well, obviously we got to suck it up and get that. We got to buy that for them. And she's like, I knew you were going to say that. I already ordered it. I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. Right. So that really started it off. And very quickly, we just started collecting money and buying equipment and providing service, paying for services and getting that out to people.
Right.
And we started Team Iron Will. When Will was born, you know, we had chosen William. William's such a strong name, and you know, King and so we were in the delivery room. He had just been born, and you know, they said, "What's his name?" And my wife said William, and I'm like, "It's Iron Will, Iron Will." She's like, "That's right. He's gonna, you know, he's gonna persevere." He was born. He had the cord wrapped around his neck. So like, there's all this. I mean, you know how that goes, brother. There's all kinds of stuff adversity along every part of the journey.
Right.
And so we started this organization, nonprofit. We kind of started going gangbusters about 3 years ago, and putting it out there. We'd already been capturing and journaling his little lifetime path, and people responded well to it. And I'll tell you what, David, especially on Twitter /X,
right.
It was my wife has a large following, and it's a lot of people in the community, in the Down syndrome community. And they are great, like reinforcement, motivation, positivity for each other. They learn. On X, it's different, right? So it's different for me. So
yep.
You and I are both veterans. A lot of my followers, veterans, law enforcement, soft guys all over the place. Just to make me question my manhood, they're all over there. So it was a completely different audience. And I'll tell you what, the response from that audience to Will blew my mind, right? Like there were days where I'd be like, and have to, you know, choke it back a little bit. And some kind of flip there.
Sorry, I flipped up. So
no, you're good.
So people could actually read Team Iron Will now,
right?
Yeah.
So what a great motivation for me, and what a great place of refuge coming onto X and building relationships with guys like you and all these people out there, men and women who loved him, but maybe weren't in the community, right? So they led lives of perseverance and adversity. They'd served in combat. They'd served on the streets in law enforcement. They were doctors and nurses, all this stuff. And I said, babe, this is like, these people love him. They have good hearts, and they're seeing something in him that resonates in their lives, right? Like, because all of us are broken one way or another. We're all broken people. Original sin has put a lot in our rucksacks. And for a lot of people out there, they saw this little guy the first time he walked, the first time he drank or, you know, took a bite or climbed up the stairs, whatever he did. The DMs that I get and the messages and the replies were from people saying, hey, I don't know what it is, but that little dude makes such an impact on my day.
Right.
And I mean, people saying I'm fighting cancer. I just lost my wife or my husband. My child has Down syndrome or autism or another condition.
If I could just speak into that real quick.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you. So we have a nice, not like yours, but we have 5 kids, right? I married my wife. I became insta dad, right? Because she had already 2 kids, right? So what a blessing that is. But one of our sons is autistic and has a more severe side of epilepsy, right?
Okay.
And you're telling me how you had this idea, you know, we're going to train to standard, right? We're going to get Will to this milestone. That, you know what? The crazy thing is that it must be a military thing, right? Where we're going to be like, we know how we're going to get this done, right?
Yes.
We're going to get this milestone and that milestone and that milestone. And then reality hits us.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't know how to handle that very well. Yep. What do you mean? No. I know. I mean, like me, I did this. I was in the Army for 20 years. Right. So, I mean, I was a leader for most of that time. So, of course, I must have known.
Thank you for your service, brother. That's awesome, man.
Right. I must have I know what I'm doing. Come on, right? And then I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. You know what? My wife has watched Iron Will stuff as well, even though she's not really on social media a lot. You know, she told me. So here's me being honest with the audience out there. She's like, maybe you should learn from the way they do things with Iron Will. And you guys have helped me. Man. Be better.
Thank you for sharing that, brother. Hey, that's what we're here for, man, right? That's why we're on this earth together.
That's right.
To learn from each other.
Right. So I'm just being honest with people out there. And I love being honest with people, right? You know, if people ever watch or listen to this show, no, I'm honest, open. I'm not in any soapbox. I'm not better than anybody else, right? You said, hey, we live in a broken world. Original sin really affects all of us, right?
Yes, sir.
So hey, you guys are touched my life in a very well impactful way too.
Awesome. Thank you, my friend.
So
and you just made my day, David. So awesome. Thanks, brother.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's really like so right, an incredibly difficult journey. Medical problems that seemed to sometimes decrease, but that come back with a vengeance.
Yes, sir.
Right? All this other type of stuff. You got other kids you got to deal with. So I read when I was reading your story on the website, or the story on the website, right? I got pulled up here. The camera's going on. I can't find it now, of course. but there's something prolific you guys said about Jesus being in all of this. I think it was something like that, right?
Yes, sir.
Because I mean, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. Is let's do things the world way, and Jesus is not in it. So if you want to, if you wouldn't mind speaking into that.
Yes, sir.
Some.
Of course. Great observation, my friend. I think for both of us, you know, our lives revolve around the understanding that there's something bigger. This ain't it. You know, this mortal bound. This isn't it.
Right.
And how much it would suck if it was, right? Like, golly.
Yeah. Yep.
So what we found, there are a lot of organizations out there, David, that do a lot of great things. I don't bash on organizations. My hope is that I can encourage them to be stronger in terms of principle. But I think a lot of people are hesitant to acknowledge that our faith should guide our actions, right? You know, and it's easy, I think, for people, and probably because a lot of times they're afraid to open themselves up to either questioning or subject themselves to abuse of any kind out in the world if they say, I believe in God, right? I believe in Jesus Christ. And but what we found was that if we separated out our belief in God from our advocacy for Will and people with Down syndrome, you're kind of just left with this scientific, sterile approach to advocacy. It's very quick. It's very easy to quickly lose the human nature of what we're talking about. And really at the core of it, we're talking about personhood, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's an important part of it. You know, my wife's great. She educates me constantly. And I never thought about the terms that we use and how we do it. And I think one day I said, well, you know, Down syndrome people, blah, blah, blah. And my wife said, well, it's people with Down syndrome. I'm like, okay, define the difference for me. And she said, well, if I said that you're male Andrew Dobb, does that define who you are? I'm like, well, in part, but okay. She's like, what if I said you're, I don't know, you know, like cancer, like if I had cancer and I was fighting. She said, what if I said this is cancerous Andrew Dobb? I'm like, yeah, that's not how I want to be defined. She said, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And she said, define Will first. He happens to be a person created in the image and likeness of God who just so happens to have Down syndrome. It's not the other way around. And it's very easy for the world to put the label first.
Right.
And I think both you and I can agree, brother, that they do that so that they can dismiss what follows. So if I say Down syndrome child or Down syndrome person, I've automatically, in the minds of the people hearing that, defined them by their condition as opposed to who they truly are.
Right.
And then you can easily dehumanize them, which is why we end up with the travesty of abortion and parents, getting these tests and finding out that their child even has a hint or, a possibility of abortion or of Down syndrome and aborting that child before they ever get the chance.
Right.
And so as we went along this path, what we realized is that if we don't integrate fully our belief in God and our belief in the personhood, intrinsic personhood and value of every person from the moment that they're created forward, then we're missing something big time. And we're just like, we're like every other organization. And we go, hey, let's advocate for people with Down syndrome or whatever. So, and so, man, we pray before we do an event. We pray during the event. Even in our after action review, we just did a big wiffle ball tournament. Right? It's kind of our first like local or regional one, and we had like 16 teams from across the country, and all because Will loves wiffle balls. Like I'm like, I try to go out and play. My boys are throwing 80 and 90 miles per hour, and I'm like, I can't compete. So
right.
But as part of all of that, the volunteers and everybody, we started off with prayer. And I think it doesn't leave any doubt in anyone's mind where we stand,
right?
And why we are advocating and where our advocacy stops, because it doesn't stop until natural death, right?
Right.
At the moment of creation, and it doesn't stop until natural death.
Yeah.
It's not, hey, you were born, now I'm going to start advocating for you. That's unacceptable. So yeah, brother, it's intrinsic and it's innate to our family and now into our organization.
And I've seen this, the hat I'm wearing, right, for Mighty Oaks program, right? I attended the program myself.
Was it good?
Oh, brother, let me tell you what, it was the only program like it out there. I have been involved with one in Landstuhl, Germany. Okay. I have been involved with the Wounded Warrior Project, other things. And I'm telling you, it's the only one that works like it does because of what you mentioned, right? It's Christ focused.
Yeah.
It's completely word based and Christ focused, and it works.
Beautiful.
I mean, I saw men, veterans, hardened veterans walk into that program with me, right? And walk out different because of Jesus.
Beautiful.
And so I guess it's sad. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that if you're anything like I am, and it sounds like you are a little bit, right? We're politely at times difficult people for our wives to deal with, right? She's like, I know the way.
Hey, don't drag me into that crowd with you, Dave.
Right? Right? I mean, they're like, hey, this is the way this should. You should probably be doing it this way. And we're like, no, I know better, right? And then here we go down the road, and you're like, yeah. And we're like, you were right, kind of deal. So, in this incredible journey with its ups and its downs, and all of that happening, right? So, how did you get through this as a couple, right? How is it that you stayed together? How is it that you're now, doing this together with all of the other stuff that life throws in that's busy, sports, and right now you said your wife has had a dance with her or doing Irish dancing competition with her daughter, right? And all, so how does this,
Great question, my friend. I will tell you a critical part, I think, is the fact that we had 7 children before Will was born.
Okay.
So I was well on my way to a solid fire team already, right? Like, I mean, I on my way to a squad, right? I already had a fire team. So, and boy, I think we've had, as you have, as so many, we've had periods and events of adversity in our life.
Right.
And I'll tell you, with Kathy and I, and so let me set the variables or kind of the operating environment. When I came off active duty, I was struggling with a couple things.
Okay.
I had just been selected for major, and we were going to move. So my last active duty station was at Scott Air Force Base as a joint anti-terrorism officer or something. Okay. And we're going to move. And Kathy has a medical condition that she manages very well, but can be hard. And at that point in time, we already had 5 children, and I had been, going in late hours and trips, and I had to make a decision in my life what I'm going to do. And the hardest thing ever for me, leaving the Army. In retrospect, it was not, right?
Right.
It was the right thing. At the time, it was. And I'll tell you, I've talked a little bit about this on Twitter, and I've talked to some good dudes, Braxton McCoy, a couple other guys. David, I was not in combat. I didn't get to serve in combat. And that weighed very heavily on my heart. I had trained my whole life for it. It's not that I wanted to go into combat. That wasn't the point of it. Because I'd be an idiot to say I wanted to go to war. I think just as a man, I felt like I had prepped for that test. I had prepped to play in the big game, and I was sitting on the bench, and I was just sitting there. And so I was going through a lot mentally in my life. And I said, okay, babe, I got it. I know what the right decision is. I left. The military asked me to stay on and do protection and security for them, and so I did. And so I've done that as a DoD civilian and ended up managing a lot of them and doing a lot of really cool stuff that I probably wouldn't even have gotten to do in the Army.
Right.
But it was a lot of hours, a lot of time away from home. And we had a number of different things happen. The only thing that got us through, brother, I think every couple has their ups and downs. I think the only thing that got us through was one saying, hey, we're never going anywhere. We're as a couple, right? We're locked.
Yeah.
And 2, we have our belief in God.
Okay. Yep.
And man, if you don't have that, what's the point, right?
Right.
What's to hold you together? What's to keep you on the right path?
Right.
There's nothing. And so I think by the time, and it's a hectic life now, 8 children, you're going and going. I'll throw this out to you. Not only on top of all that, my wife homeschooled almost all of our children.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. Wow. Right. I got the easy part, brother.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say, I'd rather go to Iraq another time and get shot at again.
Right. I mean, she blows my mind. And I would come home and I would make sure they knew what 2 + 2 was. And that was about as far as I could take it. But,
right.
So, but I think that because in our hearts we were committed to each other and we were committed to God simultaneously, when we got to this point in our life, it didn't feel overwhelming. And that was validated, David. Right? It's our posterity that really is where our treasure is. Like if, God entrusts them to us, and if we're doing the right thing, at the end of the day, that's where our blessings come from. And when we did our first gender reveal, right, for William, the boys knew, we were having a baby or whatever.
Right.
They're boys and they're my boys, so they're kind of like, yeah,
okay, right.
I don't even know how that happens, Dad, but okay, gotcha. So Kathy, we wanted to do a gender reveal, and we did a gender reveal, a little, blue balloons and blue cake or something, just with our family, just with our son sitting around and our daughter. And when we told the boys, we told them Will, that the baby was going to be a boy. And then I said, men, there's one more thing, men and Tango. There's one more thing that I'm going to tell you. This baby has Down syndrome. And so it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to invest maybe more time and I just remember our sons sitting there almost to a man, and they looked at us and I said, okay, moving on. Okay. And that has been their attitude since day one.
Right. Yeah, that's like something else I noticed too, right? Well, let me just say real quickly, I've never been to combat training to go to combat, kind of yourself with as a man, but then God gives you iron will.
Yes, sir.
Right? And it gives you that blessing. And all of a sudden you got to put in, a ton of, hard work. If I can put it, I don't know, probably make up a new term here, but
Yep.
And now it's validation probably more than, anything you ever did in the military, whatever it give you. I speak as somebody who's a dad, and being a dad is better than anything the military ever gave. But yeah, it seems like, what I might have seen is the whole family's on board with this, right? I see the videos of Tango cooking, baking with him, right? Yeah. I see the brothers, the playing music and the other stuff that they're doing. I think one of your sons does a lot of the social media graphics and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's a team effort, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the great observation, my friend. They're all geniuses, right? Like their skills and the gifts that God has given them just blow me away. And they adore him, and all the way from our oldest son is a police officer. He's a tough, smooth operator, man, but he loves his brother, and his brother adores him. It's all of them, right? They all adore him. So David, you hit on it. I will tell you, people ask a lot, kind of about Will and where he is now and how we got him there. I'm like, well, that's, it's all in God's hands. But there is a value added. There is a significant visible benefit to him being stimulated constantly throughout the day by brothers and a sister walking through the room, dropping down, roughhousing with him, playing with him, learning with him, taking him outside, playing wiffle ball. He wants for attention never. Right. And not just like attention like, oh, hi, buddy. It's engaged, it's kinetic. And I think that kind of stimulus has been critical in who you see now as Iron Will. Right. Because those boys and his sister are just godsends. They are incredible for him. And he just loves them, and they love him. And they're all, they're fantastic young men. They are not hesitant to be affectionate with him in public, to defend him, because people are rough on social media. Yeah, and they see that. They'll see people make comments, not too often on mine. People have made comments on X in response to Will, and then the people that you and I follow us. Holy smokes. It's like somebody calling in air attacks and fire missions because they are on those in a heartbeat. I just sit back. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything.
Right.
But his brothers, being on social media and being a little bit older, they see that stuff and they hear it, and they respond with charity. They respond very strongly, but they do so coming from a position of power. They know him and they know about Down syndrome. And they are advocates for life from the moment of creation.
Right. Yeah, because that's another thing. What I see is just a downward, if you will, almost to the point of going off a cliff, on the value of life.
Yeah.
You have right now where the FDA, right before the government shutdown, I'm saying, they just approved a generic abortion pill.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I mean, how much more where now life comes down to whether it's convenient or not. Right.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, how much more than with Down syndrome, where it's not a matter. I mean, it should never be treated inconvenient or convenient. It should never be treated right. All life is value. Every life, from the moment of conception to the moment of the death, whatever that path that
you're
takes,
exactly right.
As a intrinsic, inestimable value, right? But we live in a society where that's not the case. You could pop a pill, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, a doctor could come in and, well, do you want the test done, right? And then the results. Okay, well, just in case, you know, whatever they throw out there, your lifestyle may not fit, right? So where would you say that? Where would you say that we need to hold, especially, you know, all children?
Yes, sir.
You know, because we're here advocating for those with special needs, especially Down syndrome. What would you? How do we get that value back then?
Great question. David, you hit it on the head. So we do live in a culture of death, right? I mean, there is the dehumanization started so long ago. You know, I always think I watch kind of the parallels between the modern day and Hitler and Germany. And Action T4, the program that they started, I think it was started in 1940. They started a program where, long before they were doing everything else, they started rounding up people with mental disabilities, people with Down syndrome, people with chronic diseases, and they were, quote unquote, putting them in care homes or, you know, institutions, but in reality they were ultimately killing them, right? So it was eugenics at its best. It's worse, but at its best. And interestingly enough, everybody gasped. They're like, oh, Hitler, Nazi Germany, right? I'm like, what is the difference, right? Like, it was in scale, sure, but it's on scale here,
right?
And you know, you see these doctors, quote unquote. Peter Sanger's one of them that pushes eugenics big time. He said a child up until they're a year old has less value than a chicken. And there's nothing wrong with terminating them after they're born if they have conditions or the parents are inconvenienced, like you said, inconvenienced. What we talk a lot about, every time he accomplishes something, we're so overjoyed, right? Like, we love watching him accomplish stuff. But if Will never accomplished anything, our joy would be the same.
Right.
His accomplishments, him walking, him talking, whatever it is, that does not define who Will is. Will is Will because he was born in the image and likeness of God. End of story. And his value is intrinsic. It is not defined by his abilities or his skills, his knowledge, his mobility, none of that. It is defined by the fact that he was born in the image and likeness of God, or created. So a lot of times here, thank you for bringing this up, because I said I don't talk about other organizations, but I do have an issue that a lot of the organizations out there don't connect the advocacy of people with Down syndrome with the battle for life.
Okay.
And the respect for human life.
Right.
And it's almost like there's a clear dividing line for them, where they say, okay, someone is born, now we're going to advocate like crazy, but we're unwilling to wade into the political fight and the moral morass of abortion or euthanasia or eugenics or whatever it is. We don't want to be really part of that.
Yeah.
We kind of like to keep our lines and our parameters clean, right?
Yeah.
Well, we don't think that, because it's all connected.
Yes.
If I dismiss human life as a whole, why would I regard the life of someone with Down syndrome as important or value added?
Right.
I have no problem terminating at an early age or before birth, or I have no problem euthanizing somebody that I don't think is of value anymore. Why would I give special credence and favor and care for someone who has Down syndrome or any condition? right? I mean, you have a son with autism, and people, the hearts of them are of so many people are dismissive and discriminatory against anyone that they think is different,
Right.
and especially if that person has something that they view as a condition or a sickness or an illness. It makes them uncomfortable, right? Will runs up to people and gives them hugs. You don't know him, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, at a certain point, dear, he's 30 and he's doing that. Like,
Yeah.
he's got to be careful about that. But he's is just in his heart. He's just good natured guy. But people are uncomfortable with that. And that discomfort and that ability to separate out from humanity, I think, is what leads us to the point where you can easily dismiss people who have disabilities. You can easily dismiss life. You can discriminate against it. You call them names, and using words and terminology is all part of dehumanization.
Yes.
So if I call you something, very quickly I devalue you from human. I devalue you as a human, and it's then easier for me to institutionalize you, separate, discriminate, and ultimately eliminate. Right. So, so I think really everything that we do is about changing the narrative surrounding people with Down syndrome, but we never leave it there. We talk about the value of human life as a whole, and we want people to find joy in that. If you find joy in the people around you, your family and your friends, and then the bigger world, people are so willing to look at everything that's negative. And man, you and I could both be consumed by that 24/7.
Yeah, true.
And there are those times where I rabbit hole, right? Like, I'll be on X and I'm like, sweet heavens. My job for the DoD for 18 years, as you can well imagine, the reports that you're doing and the intel and the stuff you're seeing, it's just heartbreaking and it's overwhelming. And if I stayed in there, well, I don't know what I would do. Will was a blessing in that way. I would come home at the end of a long day and I'd walk in and he would say, Daddy, and wrap his arms around me. And the weight of the world would go that way because
right.
I think that if we focus on just letting people know there's something bigger than what we have here, something eternal, right? Focus on having to get our throne in. And then if we focus on joy and drawing joy simply from people's presence, doesn't matter what they do or what they don't do, what they accomplish or don't accomplish.
Right.
If we focus on the joy of their presence, then maybe we can shift that narrative.
And I think, well, that people, I don't think many people realize just what an asset these people are, right? I mean, they're the type of people who will lighten up a room. They walk in and the room lightens up.
Yes, sir.
They walk in and they speak and they just hello. They greet. They're joyous.
Yep.
And the atmosphere shifts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to say it. Most of us suck at doing something like that, right? We suck.
Right. Oh,
right.
Agreed.
But that's what I'm saying. We don't realize what an asset they are, right? A priceless asset wherever they're at.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Right.
You're exactly right. They are in such a beautiful way unburdened by the negativity that we find ourselves consumed by. Right. And we talk about relentless forward progress a lot.
Okay.
Relentless forward progress came it was actually kind of a concept that was mentioned in a book I read about ultra marathoning. And I've been dumb enough to run a couple without the proper and requisite training, right, David? So all my bosses would have been really ticked. And I suffered for it. But so I was reading this book and it was about relentless forward progress. Relentless forward progress just doesn't matter how fast you go. It just matters that you go.
Okay.
So you never take a step back. And if you do, you simply reset and go forward. So it's if you just put one foot in front of the other and you just keep going. And one day we were out on a walk. Will loves taking walks. He doesn't walk though. He runs.
Right.
But because of that low muscle tone and some issues with lung capacity, like he'll get tired fast.
Right.
And so he sat down on the road. He just sat down. He plopped down and he sat there. And he was just kind of resting. And I told my wife, I'm like, man, you think he's okay? And she's like, yeah, I think he's okay. I bet he's just going to get up. He's just catching himself and he's going to get up. And he did. And so he rested for a second and then he got right back up and kept going. So now he'll do that to catch himself, but he never stops. Gotcha. He never, he doesn't quit. He just resets and then relentless forward progress. And what a great example that is from a positivity standpoint, from an understanding the flow perspective, right? Like, because he's got wicked flow and karma, brother. Like he's in the moment all the time, and he goes 100 miles an hour. And I always think, what could we accomplish if we lived our lives like Will lives his? He is unencumbered by failure. What a beautiful thing that is, right? Because like you and I say, I mean, we can allow ourselves to be encumbered and paralyzed by sin and brokenness, the weight of what we haven't done or what we did that maybe wasn't the right thing. And he is unencumbered by that. And it is a beautiful way to live, both from a physical perspective, an emotional perspective, and even a spiritual perspective. Gosh, what an example he is to us. And I think that's why he resonates with a lot of people. And I always, my wife and I talk about, I'm like, T. Meyer Will isn't just about advocating for people with Down syndrome and people that require extra assistance. It's really almost a movement. And a lot of people say that when they message me there, and as you and I were talking about at the beginning, is that they love being part of it because they feel like they're part of something bigger and something that motivates them, right? That drives perseverance in their mindset. And so, yeah, it's what a gift from God he is to us.
Absolutely. I mean, perseverance, right? You talk about that. The scripture from Proverbs 24:16 comes to mind. It says, "For the righteous falls 7 times and rises again." Right? Yeah. Perseverance. And these I don't think people realize how these people can show us perseverance, because let's face it, comparatively speaking, our lives are cakewalks, right? Yes, and it's like sometimes like, oh, the Wi-Fi is on, oh, my life is over.
Your camera disappears. Yeah,
right, exactly. My life is, oh no, right. Even, but they show us perseverance. They show us, man, what one person, especially Christ-centered, right? That's probably the most important, right? Yep. Is that, I mean, we see them. Look at the joy they have. The joy of the Lord is their strength, and they keep going forward relentlessly. And like, what lessons we can learn, man?
Yes, sir.
So all right then. So where can people go then to check all this out, support, find resources? Where is it that they can go?
Great question, my friend. So you're right. So typically we ask people, hey, 3 things. 1, always retweet and we post our Instagrams, tweet and repost our Instagrams and our Twitter stuff, because that just helps us get the message out there and keep it flowing. 2, we'll always take monetary support. We've helped, I think, David, you already know this, but thus far, the reason that I left my government service early was because we realized how kinetic our movement is right now in T. Meyer and Will.
Right.
We've already helped almost 3,100 families worldwide, 35 different countries, brother. And we've delivered over almost 700 pieces of medical and therapy assistance, our equipment to people. We've done 100+ scholarships for early learning, speech development, etc. And so I really got moved by that. And I said, babe, I got to commit my life to this. Like, and she wanted me to anyway. So it was an easy sell. She's like, I don't want to influence you. And I'm like, I'm there. But if you go to, so if you follow us on X at The Resolute Life, if our Instagram, Will's Journey 21, and then this fabulous website that you're showing, sir, TMeyerWills.org. Yes, sir. And that gives you probably more than most people even want to read through, but TMeyerWills.org, it gets you everywhere you need to go. And yeah, that's it, brother.
All right, brother, man. I mean, like I said, it was an honor having you on. It's an honor having a guest appearance by the wee little man there. All right.
That's right. He came in.
All right. It was an honor. All right. So So thanks, everybody. You can stick around right after this. But thanks, everybody, for watching. Make sure you share this. Please get the word out. All right. Hit that like button. Get the word out. Tell people to watch it at the YouTube channel. All right. Restore with David C. McGuire. All right. Go there. Just start conversations about this with people. All right. So with that, everybody, God bless you.